welcome back to another episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. Today, I am welcoming social media blogger and influencer Olivia. Olivia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So let's get started. So if you can begin by talking a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so currently it's always different. Like if you would have asked me a year ago, it probably would have been a different answer. But consistently, it's kind of been the same throughout the last like 6 to 7 years. I am self-employed. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a little girl, so I'm technically a mompreneur. And I just manage 7 different social media accounts now, plus my own and my website. So it's a lot, but I definitely it's been fun.
Oh, wow. That's great. I think being self-employed is a lot of work, and for you to manage 7 social media accounts, I think that takes a lot of patience. Is I don't know,
Yeah.
shooting content isn't like just one picture and is perfect.
Yeah.
A lot goes behind the scenes. So I think that's awesome that you're following that passion of yours.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I started with just mine and another one. Um, and then it just kind of snowballed into more. It's crazy. I never really like went looking for any accounts or anything like that. They all just kind of it was like a referral thing. I can't even explain it, but yeah, it's been really nice. And I like you, I enjoy taking photos. So it's like it's work, but it's not like it's creative work. So it's fun.
Love it. So, what inspired you to create your blog, and what do you hope to achieve from it?
So my blog was really like rocky at first because I really felt like it just wasn't like branded. And I was like, this is just not what I want it to be. And it's really now at a place where I'm really confident in it. And it's finally to where like it has the atmosphere and the vibes that I like, because I truly do want like any girl or even a guy to be on my website and just feel like they're catching up with an old friend, and they're not being sold something. So to me, it was just kind of for like my travel experiences, soon to be recipes and stuff like that. So I just wanted it to be more of me, and less of my like to know it and fashion.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think that it does take some time to find your brand because there are so many like platforms out on social media. And a lot of them can start to seem like the same thing. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to kind of find what makes you you and kind of incorporate that into your page, which you do such a great job of. I don't know, your page is unique because of like the aesthetic and kind of like the lattes with Olivia, like that whole name. I think
Yeah, so it's like crazy because I was like, I'm really big on like rhyming, and I was like, it's just it doesn't rhyme. So I'm like, I really had a hard time with that. And I'm like, well, I like really actually like prayed about it, and I was like, I just don't know, like, and it really did, like it stuck. I last year during quarantine, I originally was gonna have a podcast called Coffee with Liv, but that also didn't rhyme, and that also just like bothered me. And I was like, that doesn't, that's not it either. And I was just like, I have to find something that I like really like, and I like feel like it would look good on a mug or something. Like I don't like that. And so it really took me a while to like find something that I liked. And then I just started ordering lattes and making lattes at home nonstop during quarantine. It was like I was like, I'm like a barista on the side. So I was like, oh my gosh, like all I drink is lattes, like more than water. Like I should. And I was like, lattes with Olivia sounds so much better than coffee with Liv. And I was like, I'm so glad I went with this. And it's just like I feel like I'm more me and my brand than I ever have been. So that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the name. It's like just because it doesn't rhyme, I still think it's like really catchy and like I don't know, you kind of play around with it. So it really works for what you're trying to get across to your audience.
Yeah. And I also like I was thinking too, because I was like, I've been doing like weekly lives, and I was like, well, that's like another thing with my website is I really just wanted to feel like I'm getting like coffee with a friend. So I was like, lattes with Olivia, like join me weekly and just, drink your coffee and hang out with me, because I'm like, I really want it to be like a friendship vibe. And I feel like a lot of times when I'm on Instagram, it's just like I'm being sold a lot, or, it's always like that salesy vibe. And I just really don't want that to be what I put out.
Yeah, I think like being authentic is really important with your social medias because I don't know, and it's never a good thing to kind of just lie to your audience because you want them to assume that like everything's perfect and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because I feel like life isn't perfect, and it's not that you're being like harsh. It's kind of just you're being real with your followers, and I think that they appreciate that more than like being told something that's not like actually true.
for sure. Yeah. And I would rather take like a little pay cut and honestly just be, authentic and real and not be just like promoting all the time. And it's like, that's where like, I think, finding like your passion with social media can be so hard because when you just like start your Instagram and you don't really know like what direction you're going with it, it kind of can be tricky because you get a lot of offers and a lot of things that people offer to you or whatever, and it's just not who you truly are, so it takes time to find your niche.
I really agree. So was there a certain time that you realized talking about fashion, travel, and beauty was your passion, and how was this experience for you?
Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really thought that was one of the questions. I was like, I've never thought about this, like this is really a good question, because I was like, I really like found an answer rather quickly, because I was like, it was when I was on a vacation and I was like doing what I basically do back home, and I was just like managing the accounts and making content on the beach and doing whatever wherever we were down south. I was doing the same thing back in Ohio, and I was like, this is like crazy because I feel like so many jobs are so limiting, and I feel like so many people work like a career path that they're kind of like really tied down in, and they can't really do what they're passionate about or like travel or do anything else. And I was like, this is like so like perfect for me because I just enjoy freedom with my family like way too much to be like tied down. So I was like, I really enjoy creating content, but I really like enjoy the freedom that it gives me, like mostly.
Okay. That's awesome realization because I feel like sometimes it's hard for people to find their path or like what they want to do in life because I feel like there is so many like things like I don't know that way of doing everything like oh like graduate high school, go to college, like get a job,
Yeah.
like at a desk 9 to 5, and that's just not for everyone. And I know personally for me that's not what I want either, only because I just wanna I'm more of like an explorer. Like I love like exploring new things. Just
Yeah.
thinking outside of the box, I don't know. I just like am my own person and I don't kind of want to be told what to do for the rest of my life, if that makes sense. So, being in the major I am kind of, I want to kind of just, I don't know, we'll see where life takes me, but I definitely want to have a job that's like non conventional, something like that's
Yeah.
not like ordinary, like what everyone else does. So, I can agree a lot with that.
Yeah, and it's powerful too to like know that when you're young, because obviously you're really, I mean, you're super young still. So to like know that, I mean, I feel like at any age you can really turn, your career around and do something that you're passionate about. But I'm like, I'm passionate about so many things to where I'm like, I definitely couldn't make a career out of the things that I enjoy. So I was like, I would just rather, and it's like not saying too that like the job I do is not hard. Like it's just able to be on the go. Like I'm literally on my phone like 70 hours a week. So it's obviously a job, but it's just a job I can do anywhere. So that's like where I really realized I was like, this is such a passion of mine because it's like it's a vehicle that really allows you to like live life on your own terms.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing. I really love that answer. So, following to the next question, what does fashion mean to you, and how do you represent who you are through the clothing you wear?
That's a good question too, because I was like, well, I'm such a bright, colorful person. So I was like,
Mm.
in the winter, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm really not technically supposed to be wearing like mint green and like lilac purple, but I just wear like colors all throughout the year. And I'm just like such a colors person. Like I really do like neutrals, but I feel like my personality is just more like bright and bubbly. And I do feel like that I wear the same clothes that like represent that. And I don't even mean to, like, I'm just drawn to that type of fashion. Like when I'm out, I'm like, oh, look at this little bubble sleeve top. Like it's super frilly. And like my sister's hilarious. She's like, I love that for you. Like she's always like, for you. But I'm just like a real like girly, I don't know, like I feel like I wear like, like the jeans and stuff too, but I just like to always be pretty girly and pink. And obviously I have my days where I'm just like sweats and, you know, not pink and girly.
Yeah, I like that because I think like everyone should find what color scheme they like to wear. Kind of that just like makes you you and kind of makes you original because there's so many trends out there. There's so many different styles you can wear, and but sometimes like you end up just blending in and like looking like everybody else, like the basic.
Yeah.
And I think that I mean like that's great, like if that's what you're into. But me personally, I like to find more like items that I don't know, are unique and stuff like that, where people kind of get inspired by what I wear and then kind of make that into their own. Um,
Yeah.
so, like what you said about the neon colors, I think that's great that you've established that that's what like represents you and stuff like that, and that's kind of reflected onto your Instagram feed. And I am like more of like the neutral, so I love like the beiges, the
Yeah. See, I love that aesthetic. So there's a studio in my hometown where it's like everything's white and we shoot there a lot. And like my every time I shoot there, I'm like, I love like the neutrals and the silks and like the nudes and all that. And like like the boho feathers and all that. I love that vibe. And I feel like when I'm like older, like I'll probably get sick of like the pinks and like the constant color. I'm sure I'll have like a more neutral house. Technically, my house is pretty like neutral right now. Really, the only room that's like super pink is my office, but that'll probably stay for a long time.
No, yeah. And it's great that like we just shared that you're more into the like brighter colors and I'm more into the neutrals and like we're still able to relate on fashion. And I think that a lot of people should kind of find more of like what makes them with their clothing.
For sure. And I feel like just having basic staples is so important. Like I saw that you had a podcast about summer must haves, or I forget what you titled it, but I was listening to that and I was like, oh, that's so true because you really don't have to get a whole new wardrobe. You just have to have some staple pieces that work for you.
Mhm.
Like for me right now, a good chunky flip flop, like baggy t-shirt, stuff like that is like it for me right now, just because it's so humid here. But yes, they need to go listen to that episode for sure.
Oh, thank you. It's great that you listened to it and found it useful. That's like what I love to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
But can you talk about how you came up with the name for your account, Lattes with Olivia? You kind of touched on it, but if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, so it's so funny. My good friend Chris Bush, he started saying because I never don't have a coffee. Like I never don't have a nice coffee. So he actually started calling me. He's like, "Come here, coffee with Liv," because most people call me Liv. I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people call you Liv too.
Mhm.
So he's like, "Coffee with Liv, coffee with Liv." He's like, "You need to have a podcast," and this was like 2 years ago. And he's so funny. He kept calling me Coffee with Liv. And I was like, I like it. And it's like really genuine because it kind of started from like a good backstory. I was like, but it's just not it. So that's how I found like the Lattes with Olivia. And that there was no LLC or website for that yet. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what I decided on just because it was like really original. There was no Instagram handle for it. Like I could really just be my own and start a brand from fresh. So like hashtag Lattes with Olivia, it's literally like only my content. So super cool.
Yeah, that's great. Sometimes like the things happen so spontaneously and they end up like being like something so cool like that. So like out of the ordinary, like you would probably never expect your friend to kind of like say
Yeah.
that. But it's like so cool that that's your brand and like everyone knows you for like drinking coffee or like you're like
So funny. Yeah. I'm like too much. It's too much. I need more water. But yeah, that's literally what I'm known for. Is like I always have a coffee until like 12 a.m. I will drink coffee and then I'm like, okay, I should probably take water with my vitamins.
it's so funny. But it makes you you and I don't think you should stop.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that the name is super cute and I like how you incorporate it into your feed, like with your, I don't know, your graphics are really like unique and stuff like that. And you don't like overdo it. I feel like you kind of incorporate it in like I don't know, like a modest way. And it just is a way to kind of get your followers like interested and stuff like that. So I think it's super cool.
Thank you. Oh my God, that means so much to me because I'm always worried. I'm like, I literally show my boyfriend my Instagram feed like 100 times a week. Like, is this too tacky? Like, does this look okay? He's like, I don't know what I'm looking at because everything looks perfect and it looks the same. He's like, so I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. But I'm like, I try not to be too repetitive, but
Yeah.
I just also try to be genuine. So thank you so much.
Of course. So we all have something that inspires us. So for you personally, what is something that inspires you?
So for me, I feel like this question is pretty easy too. I was like, well, I had my daughter super young, like very young, and I never wanted to fall in to the stigma of being like a teen mom and like what that represents and like kind of not like it's a bad, obviously it's terrible. It's, financial stress and all that, but I never wanted to be like another stigma of like, just another teen parent that like falls off and doesn't succeed and all that. So I think that's kind of been like since I was 16, that's been like my driving factor of like, I have to succeed because I don't want to, just be another number of this statistic. And I feel like I've done a pretty decent job at that, but my kid's only 9, so I still have a little bit to go. But so
Mhm.
that's kind of been my driving factor.
Oh wow. I think that's inspiring. And I agree, like with the stigma sometimes it's hard to because you feel like you're just falling under that because I don't know, you had a kid young, but
Yeah.
for you to kind of use that as a way to like push yourself to do better and kind of become your best self. I think that is really like, strong of you because sometimes people can kind of be down about it, that they're kind of just like another person, but that's
Yeah.
really inspiring.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously your kid looks up to you. They will not listen to what you say.
Huh.
They will listen to what you do. So you just have to always be a good example. So that's been a driving factor to me. And then just being like a hardworking parent and like being that example for her because she doesn't really have that on her other side of the family. Well, her family, but not her, other parent. So she just doesn't have that role model. To look up to other than me. So I have to be that for her. And I feel like I've done a decent job. She does all my pictures for me and everything. She's so helpful. So she definitely sees the hard work and all that. So she's definitely, I'm definitely proud of her.
Oh my God, an amazing job for being such a good parent. And I think it's so cute because she's like your little best friend and she can help you and stuff like that. And she probably helps you kind of push every day to become better and
Yeah,
your best self too.
for sure. Yeah, because I'm like, I can't just not show up today. Like, every day I have to be, there for her and stuff. So it's definitely a motivation for us. And I mean, like, people are always like, you need to have more. I'm like, yeah, one's good enough. One's enough motivation. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's been a good driving force for me. And we've had a great 9 years together. She'll be 10 in December. So yeah, it's crazy.
Aw, so cute.
Yeah.
So finally, Olivia, what are some ways to stay connected and in touch with you?
So you can find me on social media at Lattes with Olivia. That's where you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and latteswitholivia.com. You can email me at olivia@latteswitholivia.com, whatever way is convenient. Yeah, just get in touch or direct message me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.